how do I start this? I never know how to start any of these. Hi all, welcome back. I am your host Mel, and this is my channel Mel. I'd like to first welcome any new folks or new viewers. Thank you for discovering my channel and coming here today. As for any return viewers or subscribers, thank you for being subscribers and thank you for your continued support. As an identified woman, I tend to really enjoy animes that have strong female characters. And there have been times, especially in recent days, where a strong female character can be hard to find, especially in a world where most protagonists are male characters. And when there are female characters within these shows, sometimes they are not written the best to highlight their strengths or to give them strong character moments, which can be disappointing when indulging in anime, period. With that being said, there are a lot of shows though that have great female protagonists or just overall strong characters within the show. I think very obviously some old ones that come to mind are like Sailor Moon. Sailor Moon was one of the first ones for me that basically set me on the path to be the anime junkie that I am today. But there are a plethora of other animes that have strong female characters, and I'd like to go over some today to give other viewers, whom like myself, may be really engaged when it comes to an anime that has strong female character writing. Not only is it great representation within the anime space, but as a woman myself, it gives me some inspiration and value when I have low points in my life or I just need the strength to get through some challenging tasks. As I mentioned, Sailor Moon is definitely one of the first ones that come to mind for me. As a huge Sailor Moon fan growing up, one of the first animes that I've ever been exposed to, and to this day, I've yet to really cosplay as a Sailor Moon character. You know, my mom bought me the costume when I was 7, but I feel like I don't feel as fulfilled yet. Like, I was Sailor Moon as a kid, but I think my ultimate dream is to have a bunch of friends who will also cosplay with me and do all of the Sailor Scouts. For those of you who have never seen Sailor Moon before, Sailor Moon is what you would call a magical girl series. Magical girl is the type of genre where basically it's self-described. The women in the show who are the main characters that are magical? Essentially, they are imbued with magic of some sort or use magic in some means to fight villains and antagonists within the show. And Sailor Moon, as well as her Sailor Scouts, are basically given these magical abilities to fight evil villains of the galaxy. All the different Sailor Scouts have similar names like Sailor Moon, so there's Sailor Mercury, there's Sailor Mars, there's Sailor Venus, and there's Sailor Jupiter. And all of them have their own different types of abilities. What's great about the show is they're just a bunch of teenage girls, so that's what makes it so relatable to young girls, and at least it did for me when I was younger. And they're all going through their own struggles. The main character, Sailor Moon, or otherwise known as Usagi, in the American translation back in the 90s, her name was Serena. She was a crybaby, complainy, boy-loving, gushing, regular 14-year-old girl. Any or most preteens and teenagers can identify with her, as well as some of the other characters who are either very school smart and introvert, or very passionate, confident, strong-headed, and stubborn. Others who tend to be tough on the outside but soft on the inside. They have a wide range of characters, basically you name it, with all varying types of personalities, and we watch them go through their own personal struggles in their daily lives, but then also to become Sailor Scouts. Because I wouldn't say it's easy being a high schooler and then suddenly being told that you are a guardian of the moon. That takes a lot of adjustment. And for Usagi, Sailor Moon, her growth is exponential through the show, as she goes from this crybaby, very soft character. And yes, some of these things don't go away. She's a teenager. What do you expect? But she learns to build her own strength and do what it takes to essentially save her friends. Sailor Moon basically is a platform for a lot of the magical girl-ish series that we may see today, with the iconic transformations and the way that they just call out their powers and their abilities and their attacks. Going on to a more recent anime, I guess it's known as a shonen. Well, going on to a most recent anime that aired in 2019, I covered it in a previous video in the horrors and thrillers. The show is called Promised Neverland. And within the show, the main characters, there's quite a few of them, but our basic core main character, Emma, helps drive some of the actions that are taken throughout the show. If you don't know what Promised Neverland is, please check out my previous videos. I describe essentially what the plot line is. But Emma in this show discovers that there's some hidden secrets to the foster home that they're living in, and is determined to make sure that all the kids are safe and can escape. She takes a strong leadership role, despite having some great friends and other intelligent characters that, don't get me wrong, are huge components of the show as well, but she's kind of like this driving leadership force. And you can see that in crucial moments, she will jump in to save her friends and do whatever it takes. She even goes so far as to cut off her own ear to kind of set up like a bait to make sure that the other kids have a chance to get further away and get a head start at escaping from their foster home. And throughout the show, she just shows great character growth to learn things despite being a 12-year-old child, like hunting and fighting monsters to ensure the safety of the rest of her foster siblings / her family. Not only is she a strong leader, but shows great charisma and optimism, despite the gloomy fate that they're facing. And interesting enough, if you look at the show genre or try to or look it up, it's sometimes classified as a shonen. I think it's classified as a shonen, which is essentially to mean like it's geared towards younger boys. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's geared towards younger boys, but it's more like action adventure based. And sometimes it's actually pretty rare to see strong female leads within this genre, which makes the show like basically so much more refreshing. I'm gonna throw it back, a little bit back again, not as far back as Sailor Moon, but a little further back to, I want to say, the mid 2000s. This was another show that kind of, put a pin in the anime is dope for me. And the show is called Blood Plus. I don't know how popular Blood Plus is, to be super honest. I used to watch it like on Adult Swim. I think it was Adult Swim, because there's actually quite a lot of blood in it way back when I was in high school. But I don't know many people who have seen it. You let me know in the comments below if you've seen Blood Plus and what you think of it. But essentially, Blood Plus is a show where you've got these vampire-like characters who are known as chiropterans that basically feed on humans, their blood, and such. Our main character, Saya, is a chiropteran herself, but like a human chiropteran who has basically been alive for centuries. But I think she basically lost her memory. In losing her memory, she becomes like a regular high school student, which is how you're first introduced to her. As chiropterans make appearances in Japan, her chevalier, which is basically like someone that she sired, I think sired is the word, comes to her with her, like, basically the weapon she's been carrying around forever to try and reawaken her memories. That's the best way I can sum it up in a short manner. But Saya, just a regular high school girl to her current memory knowledge, is now thrown into this world where she has to use her blood to fight these Chiropterans to save her family and her country. In doing so, she's very scared at first and then grows to get better at it. But unfortunately, with shows like this, there isn't a moment that, you know, goes by that there isn't a possibility that someone's going to die. And there are a few deaths in the show that have a heavy impact on Saya. While there are a lot of male supporting characters who help her along the way, she burdens all the responsibility on her shoulders at the end of the day, to the point that at some point in the show, in her character growth, she kind of pulls away from her family and friends and tries to take things upon herself alone. It is some trying and difficult times in watching her go through, but it just goes to show the type of strength this character has when she does come back around and eventually accepts the help of her friends and family, because she knows she can't do it alone. What's so, I guess, dope about her, though, is she goes from a regular high school student, even though she wasn't a regular high school student, but in her mind she was a regular high school student, to this badass fighting, sword-wielding, Chiropteran century-old woman who's just like slicing and dicing people and just like astronomically dope. I don't know any best way to put it, but she is very bright and very strong, and despite at times not wanting to pick up the sword and fight, eventually finds the motivation and finds the strength to basically get the job done. Now, I know I mentioned a magical girl show earlier, but it wouldn't be a video about strong female protagonists and main characters if I didn't mention another one. This other show, our main character's name is Sakura. And I'm not talking about Sakura from Naruto, because honestly, I think that her character has been butchered to a large extent, and the author / mangaka didn't do a great job at writing her. Anyway, in this Sakura, she is in a show called Cardcaptor Sakura. The word Cardcaptor may sound familiar to you if you watched like WB when you were a kid, because there was this show called Cardcaptors. But this show, Cardcaptors in the United States, was an abomination. Not only did they remove plenty of episodes, but they kind of edited the show to make it appeal to young boys more. Especially since the show is supposed to be geared towards young girls more so. So if you've ever watched Cardcaptors, just wipe it from your mind completely. I suggest you watch Cardcaptor Sakura instead, and watch the latest Cardcaptor Sakura, because they came out with more episodes for a new show. It's a continuation of Cardcaptor Sakura, but it's called Cardcaptor Sakura Clear Cards. So Sakura essentially is a young girl. She's got to be like 8 or 9, and this is definitely geared towards younger kids, because I remember watching this when I was 8 or 9. And she acquires these abilities that are kind of in relation to tarot cards. Like, that's the best way I think I could explain it, but they're called, cards of clout. And each of these cards, she activates the magic abilities within them to essentially like use her magic. Like an example would be, there's a card called the power card, and when she activates this card she gets super strength. And then there's a card called the windy card, and when she activates this card, there's lots of gusty winds, and this helps her in defeating any antagonists that come her way. Even before becoming a card captor, Sakura always demonstrated great character strength. Not only physically through her gymnastic, athletic abilities, but as well as her strong, optimistic personality to always be there for her friends and help them whenever they're in trouble or in danger, whether it's danger from the cards or trouble for any personal reasons. Maybe it's boy troubles, maybe it's friend troubles. She was always there to help her friends out, no matter the situation. I would be completely remiss if I were to leave this one off the table. I think there was an anime that took 2020 winter and maybe still 2021 by storm when it first aired. Not only was the concept very interesting, fresh, and the animation beautiful, but the cast of characters were all unique and strong in their own way. Aside from each character being unique and strong, the female characters are, I would say, a great representation and totem pole for women who watch anime today, or any woman. This show is called Jujutsu Kaisen. I feel like I don't have to explain Jujutsu Kaisen, but Jujutsu Kaisen essentially is a show following a couple of Jujutsu sorcerers around, and basically that means that they use curse-like abilities to fight cursed spirits. And the main characters of this show essentially are tasked with finding these very particular high-grade cursed objects to prevent the resurrection of a extremely powerful curse. But in the show, you've got some core main characters, about 3 to 4 of them, and while most of them are male, there's one really strong female one, as well as some other characters that they go to school with that are inclusive of other strong female characters. Most notably, Kugisaki Nobara is our main female protagonist in the group of the group of 3 protagonists. She, I would say, is a great representation of like what women want today. There's even a great memorable moment where she's basically in the middle of this heated fight, but while they're in a heated physical fight, they're also having a heated verbal fight, in which this other woman that she's fighting says, like, girls should fight pretty and they should stay pretty and elegant. They don't have to be strong. To which Nobara says, I like it when I'm pretty, and I like it when I feel good about myself, but I also like it when I'm strong, and that's what makes me me. And I think this moment is so iconic because you shouldn't be placed in a box and stereotyped for just being pretty or looking good. And I think that's something that women are overcoming more so today and used to struggle with a lot in the past, where it's just like, oh, you're female, female being like, just, I don't know. I think you get what I mean. But essentially, she embodies this, I can be both without sacrificing one or the other, and I shouldn't have to sacrifice one or the other to identify myself as a woman. And she's, again, just a total badass. Her cursed abilities are super sick and very versatile. She also will go to the extreme. I think there was this one moment, and it's like at the very end of the show, and I'm like on the edge of my seat. Man, they really ended that show on a good note, to the point that I feel like I might even rewatch it. There's actually a couple of shows I might rewatch after this now. Anyway, aside from Kugisaki though, there's some other characters, another one notably known as Maki, and she doesn't quite have these cursed abilities like Nobara and some of the other characters do, but in exchange, I guess, essentially for not being born with these abilities to see curses and have cursed abilities, she is ultra strong. And she makes it known that she knows that she doesn't have these cursed abilities, but it won't stop her from being a jujutsu sorcerer. And she's definitely like first class ranked type of sorcerer, but the family that she comes from kind of is making it hard and the impossible for her, especially when she makes it known that she's not willing to be second class in this very famous family that is known for their cursed abilities. She's not willing to be second class to any of them, especially since she can't see curses. They've kind of like shunned her from the family a bit. Like, they still acknowledge her as family, but they shun her a bit despite being, you know, part of the main branch of their family. And she makes it known that she's gonna go out there, make herself a well-known jujutsu sorcerer, despite not having the cursed skills that she needs, but she has the super strength, and she has the intelligence and the knowledge and the determination and the confidence, and she could hold it down in a fight. If you see some of the fight scenes that she goes in on, she can hold it down. She is like number one, I don't know, they're all badasses. I can't say she's number one badass, because Kugisaki is a badass, Maki is a badass. Like, you watch the show, you just get chills watching them fight. Anyway, she makes it known that she's gonna go out there and become a well-known jujutsu sorcerer, and she's going to come back and own and be the head of the clan. Like, talk about inspiring speech. Talk about just like top rank badass level female. I don't know, she deserves all the titles. Anyway, her and Kugisaki and some of the other female characters in the show, that in itself is what has, I guess, made Jujutsu Kaisen such a great show from last year, or 2020 for reference. But I think it will make the show enjoyable for the foreseeable future. And if it like continues on this track, because granted there's only been one season so far, if it continues on the track that it's going, I think it's gonna be like as well known probably as even like, you know, the Narutos or the Bleaches or the One Pieces of the world. It may not be as long, but I think it will be as memorable. I may not have touched on a lot or all the different types of female protagonists that there are in the anime creative universe, and I'm definitely sure there are a lot more shows out there. But unfortunately, most of the shows that are well marketed don't have a lot of strong female protagonists, or some of the really well-known ones have written female protagonists or female main characters to be kind of damsels in distress. And I'm sure that we can continue the series if you guys enjoyed this video enough to introduce or go over some more shows that have strong female protagonists. But aside from that, I think that these shows can be inspiring for all genders, no matter how you identify. But at least for me specifically, these are the top 5 that make me feel good about being a woman, that inspire me sometimes, and just make me feel like, dude, I can, you know, get dolled up, put makeup on if I want to, or not wear makeup, and hit the gym and lift weights and be an athlete. I know there's a lot of people that exist like that today, but, you know, I don't have to feel as self-conscious about it when you like watch shows like this, and it kind of just gives you that boost and confidence that you need to be whomever you want to be. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you haven't seen any of these shows, I'm going to highly recommend that you watch them, especially Jujutsu Kaisen. Like, that one is so well talked about right now that you're definitely missing out. And if you haven't seen some of the oldies like Sailor Moon and you're watching anime, newer animes today, I feel like you need to go back and just watch some classics like Sailor Moon to understand like what boosted anime, or what started anime, at least in America. That's at least how I personally feeling as that my foundation is from Sailor Moon. But that's gonna do it for me today. I hope you enjoyed it again. If you feel like you want to see more, let me know down in the comments. I'd love to also hear your thoughts on who your specific favorite characters were from any of the shows I mentioned, or some strong female protagonists or main characters that are in other shows that I haven't mentioned. And maybe we can talk about it on another one. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope to see you again soon. I'll be back with more content. I'll actually be at Anime NYC next weekend, so if you're there, maybe I'll see you. Maybe not. There's gonna be a lot of people, I feel. And I may or may not do a video next weekend because of that, but I hope to put something out at least. Have a great weekend, everyone, and a great week coming. And yeah, see ya.